Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another speed build, and I'm creating a cottage for a fairy in the world of Windenburg. This is basically inspired by the fact that there has been an overwhelming demand for fairies to be added to the game over the last few months. I feel like the last couple of years, but there's been a lot of discussion about what we could see coming in the rest of the year for The Sims 4, and fairies are one of the things I've heard talked about a lot. This was inspired because a couple weeks ago I had done another build that was inspired by a big ask in the game, which was bands, and I'm thinking I may address a couple more of those in builds as well. I think tonight or tomorrow on stream we're probably going to create some sort of hotel or motel. I think that could be really fun because that's another pack that everyone has been asking for, is something revolving around the idea of hotels. But for today, we are creating this little fairy cottage in Windenburg. Something about fairies just makes me think of this area. It's surrounded by so many beautiful flowers and trees and the water. This is my favorite lot in all of Windenburg. And so I just really wanted to build something here. And I kind of wanted it to look split leveled, which doesn't really work in The Sims 4. So I played around quite a bit with terrain tools, and I think it came out really cool in the end. I hope you will enjoy it. If you do and you'd like to download it, by the way, it will be available on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi, and that information will also be in the description down below as well. So at this point, I'm realizing I want to flip the roof to be the other orientation, so that way I could meet up the side roof and this roof, and they kind of connect seamlessly and look like one big piece. And I added a little bit more structure to the front, and we're getting our front porch. It took quite a lot of time to figure out how I wanted this build to look, but I'm so happy with it in the end. So I'm glad that I stuck with it and kept trying because it's just a really cute house. But right now I'm just extending our terrain so there's a little bit more space, and I keep playing with it as I add more things to the build because I really wanted it to look like it was intended to be there, like it wasn't all randomly placed terrain. And you'll see what I mean. I used so much of the tool mod in this build to achieve the sort of landscaping that I'm hoping to have here. So I end up having quite a bit of items that are like tucked into the hill to kind of hide that terrain a little bit more and make it feel more natural. So you'll see that as we continue. And I'm changing all of the colors so many different times. I ended up going with a warmer wood tone like this and changing the roof to match accordingly with this darker swatch of the thatched roofing from the cottage living pack. And that's also where the windows are from. But the wallpaper is from Get Together, which is where the world we're building in is from. So anyway, just adding some more of these items. I feel like the cottage living pack was perfect for this sort of build because I really wanted it to be a cottage. I also used this like chimney piece on the outside. I thought it was really pretty, and these pink trees were a must. I knew I wanted to have some pink trees and mushrooms and stuff. So you can see I used the tool mod to tuck that one into the ground so it looks more like a bush. And I got this other tree with the flowers on it. These are all from Live Edit objects that came with Get Together, and these mushrooms are actually from Live Edit as well, but they are from the Realm of Magic pack. And I will be scaling some of them up and having them come out of the like mountainy space or the hill as well. And it just looks so cool in this tree. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with the landscaping on this lot. And it was just one of those ones as it started coming together, as you can see on screen right now. I was just so happy and smiling at it that I couldn't stop building. So I really hope that comes through with the final product of this because I think it's so fun. I really like creating builds like this, not only for like occults in general, but more magical looking like builds like this with all the fun colors. And I love cottages and like Tudor style homes. So this was just perfect. But if there are any other builds you would like to see either in this style or for a different occult, do let me know. I always do a variety of them throughout the year, sometimes just kind of based on the season. Like I'm more apt to do vampire homes coming up into the fall, whereas for mermaids, I do those more in the summer. But, you know, it can be any time of the year. So if you have any suggestions, do let me know. I know there's going to be probably a lot of more Halloween themed or vampire themed builds coming in October. But for right now, if you have any ideas, do let me know. Maybe we could do a spellcaster home sometime soon. That could be fun. But regardless, this is our little fairy house, and I love it so much. It is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So it's not very big. It's not enough tiles for it to be, or it has more tiles than it needs to be for a tiny house, but it's pretty small on the inside. Upstairs is where the living and dining is, and like kitchen space and the bathroom. And then the basement is where the bedroom is, and like a space for some gardening and all of that. I really wanted to show like that as a fun hobby for this sim to have. But we're creating like a little outdoor space that comes off of the bedroom and gardening area on the downstairs of the build right now. So just kind of messing around with these rocks and trying to make it look closed in. Your sim should still be able to walk out of that area and like not have to go back upstairs to leave, because those are live edit objects. So they don't have a footprint. But I thought it looked really nice. And here are those mushrooms that I had mentioned. I really like the pink ones from Realm of Magic. These smaller white ones are from Cottage Living, and using a mixture of them on this lot I thought looked really pretty. And then I just wanted to get some terrain up here to kind of connect the 2 staircases. I thought it was nice to have the stone leading up to that platform and then the wood connecting to the actual porch. But here we are inside, and the actual figuring out of where the staircase is going to go took me a while, but I did cut out most of that footage so you didn't have to see the process. And then I'm just moving some of the plants out of the way because they were clipping quite a bit. But the layout here actually worked really nicely. It's pretty smushed or squished inside, even though this is not an installment of the Squish. I do have a very small 2x2 bathroom over here, and then the kitchen is directly outside of that. And it's like connected with where the living space is. It's all like one room, but it's very small. And then the bedroom ends up being downstairs. But you can see me just kind of placing items around, trying to get an idea of what would fit where. And, just figuring out how to do this floor plan, because it was going to be a little weird. And obviously the bedroom does not have any windows, but it is open with an archway to the room that has the door that has windows on it. So I thought that was fine, and it was the best spot for me to fit a bedroom here. So I was okay with that. But this is where the kitchen is going to go. And I ended up using these countertops from the Cottage Living pack as well. They are so pretty. This like rich brown tone. I paired it with the fridge that came with that pack. And I believe the stove I use is from the Country Kitchen kit. It's also a very beautiful piece. I just think that it fit here perfectly. I like how it goes up on the back. It's not like one of the shorter stoves. And then I actually used a corner cabinet piece that I had to arrange with tulle because it does not like to place where you want it to, because it's a like outer corner cabinet piece, if that makes sense. I also hung some herbs here in the kitchen over the window. Those ones are from Realm of Magic, I'm pretty sure. And I wanted to use that green curtain everywhere in this build. But it did take me a while to figure out where I could place that. I also got these little hearts up above the stove, and I was trying to clutter up the space without making it not functional. Your Sims can go ahead and cook and like prep food on that corner counter, so they can use this kitchen. So I was making sure not to actually place anything directly on that counter, just stuff on the walls around there. So I'm just getting some pots and pans hanging up over here from this new piece that came with Horse Ranch. I love that piece so much. I feel like I'm going to be using it constantly. It's just so fun to have more options for hanging pots and pans on the walls and decorating kitchens. Kitchens are one of my favorite rooms to build in all of the houses I create. I also used this really gorgeous wallpaper also from Cottage Living in here. It's just such a pretty floral with the green tones, and I really wanted to bring in a lot of green in here, make it look more like outdoorsy and nature. And the tile I used in the kitchen is also really pretty. I believe that's also from Horse Ranch. I've been using a lot of that pack, surprisingly, in builds that are not themed around to that world or the idea of having horses. So I've been pretty happy with it. And can we talk about that lamp I just put by the front door? I don't think I've ever used that item. I don't think I even knew we had that item. And obviously it's very specific. It's not going to fit in a lot of builds. But that is from Outdoor Retreat, which is the first game pack, first piece of DLC that we ever got for The Sims 4. And it is so pretty. I was so excited to put that in here. And then I end up using this little side table from the movie Hangout pack as a console table. I put a TV in here just because I think it's nice to get your Sims fun up very quickly, but that's something you could easily delete and put books there instead because, I don't know, it doesn't really fit with a fairy cottage, but I liked it and I decided to put an old beat up one that is from the basement clutter kit. And then I'm going to actually make this a little corner so I could put this fireplace here and make that look a little bit more intentional. And I think that looks really cute as well. I really like that fireplace. Once again, a new item from Horse Ranch. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I just put some like wood pieces behind it to make it more of a focal piece in the room and just sectioning that off with some columns. I actually also end up switching out the chair in the corner here. I ended up staying with a pink color, but I ended up getting a cozier chair, which is the one from the Book Nook kit. Here it is. I just think it works a lot better in this space, and we have a nice hanging plant behind it. And yeah, just trying to figure out the rest of the interior. I end up putting another window over here with another flower box. And then there's going to be a table that goes under there as well, like an entryway table. But first we are working on our dining table, which is right by the steps. It's very small. It just has space for 2 chairs and it has a couple of decorations on it as well. And of course, I had to add this plant in here. This is an item that we got with Growing Together, I'm pretty sure. And it just looks exactly like a little like fairy house. It's a little mushroom house up a hill surrounded by plants, and it feels like a hint to fairies. A lot of us have mentioned that before, and I'm really curious if that will be a pack we get sometime this year. That's been speculated quite a bit, that maybe later this year we'll be getting a fairies game pack. I'd be very interested in that because I love building this sort of house. And it'd be interesting to see what sort of like aesthetic we get with it, because obviously we already have these items and I feel like these very much lean towards a fairy. So I don't know what style we could get, but I'd be very curious about that. I'm always happy to get some more building items in the game, and working with the cults is always so much fun. So let me know what you would like to see if there is a fairy pack that does indeed come to The Sims 4. It's highly requested, and we've already gotten werewolves, vampires, mermaids. Although I think mermaids really could be improved because them and aliens could use some improvements because they're the only occults right now that are part of expansion packs instead of game packs. So they're not like the prime theme of the pack. So they're really not fleshed out at all. I feel like they could use some improvement. But outside of all of those, like, what would you like to see added to the game? Is there anything outside of fairies? And what would you like to see for fairies? I'd be very curious. I didn't play a ton with them in The Sims 3, but I always thought they were really pretty. I'd like to see how they do the wings. I kind of hope that the wings aren't all like very sparkly, if that makes sense. Obviously, they tried to make them like sheer in the past, and that looked cool, but I felt like they were really sparkly. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Anyway, this is the bathroom, and I think it came out so pretty. I put some more of these trellises in here. Is that what they're called? I think that's what they're called. And this really pretty pink toilet I don't think I've ever used in that swatch. And then we just had to have a wall-mounted shower so that it would be functional in this space. And I got a couple of decorations on the walls, some like air plants, as well as like some shampoo and conditioner and a plant. And that should be it for the bathroom. It's really small. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. But we are downstairs now working on the bedroom space, and this one took a while to come together. I cut out a lot of that footage because it was kind of frustrating to watch. I tried every rug you could possibly think of, and it just felt like nothing was quite matching with how I had upstairs, but I figured it out in the end, and I really like using this rug that I have down here, the pink one. I believe that's from the Tiny Living stuff pack. It really brings out like the very subtle pink tones in the rest of the home and in the wallpaper. And then I tried to make sort of a collage of different paintings and mirrors and stuff up above the bed. And I really wanted to use these wall sconces as well from Cottage Living. They blend in with the wallpaper so beautifully. I ended up only keeping one of them, and I changed the swatch to a brown because everything wasn't quite matching how I wanted it to. But I was really happy with how that came out in the end. But I do end up removing one of them, like I had mentioned. And we get mismatched bedside tables. I get these at first, which are from the... oh goodness, what is the name of the pack? Snowy Escape, because they're really small, but I thought it would be nice to have mismatched tables instead. So we keep one of them and swap one of them out for this side table, which I think is from Eagle Lifestyle. And then we are deleting one of the wall sconces. And this is where I just feel like it's starting to come together. Since I'm mixing so many wood tones, it was nice to really add on to that with the wood tone on the sconce. Also, please ignore that the plant is hanging down in the corner, like right above candles. Technically, that's like a fire hazard, but it's a Sims. It's fine. And then over here, I used this really pretty piece from Eco Lifestyle, and I rotated it with tulle to make it horizontal instead of vertical. And I think that was such a nice option for over there. I like that piece a lot. And then we're just getting a mirror and a wardrobe. These are also gorgeous pieces. That city living mirror, I don't use it that often, but whenever I do, I'm really excited about it. However, this wardrobe from the movie pack, I overuse. It's so pretty. This swatch in particular is my favorite, but there's some really colorful ones on there as well. And then we're just getting some decorations, heading up the steps to try and make it look a little bit more decorated over here. I liked this base game clock, which I never use. And then I also got a portrait from Cottage Living as well, just to get some sort of decoration. It's really hard to get things that feel like they fit the same aesthetic you're going for sometimes. So I was struggling with that a little bit, but I did get a vanity over here, which is from Vintage Glamour. I thought that this green swatch was perfect. And actually, speaking of which, at the time of recording this, there was a leak of like the next kits that are apparently coming out. And one of them is the Modern Luxe kit. And it looks like there's a new vanity in it. And we haven't had vanities since Vintage Glamour. So I'm very intrigued by that. It looks like more modern, and there's a lot of really cool items, it looks like, in the cover art that leaked. So I'm very interested to see what's going to be in that. It looks like there's a new bed and a like record player and all sorts of stuff. It kind of looks like there's cushions you can just put on the floor, like decorative pillows. I will be so happy if that's the case, but it does look like there's a vanity. So that's really interesting. It'll be nice to have some new versions of those. But this one I love so much. I love how it's a little bit older in style. The green was perfect for this room. And then over on this side, I decided to put lots of plants. I was thinking this was originally going to be like a plant room, but then the vanity was just so perfect that I had to add it in the space. So I'm just going to clutter up the shelf with plants, and we're going to put like a rocking chair in the corner, and then out in the courtyard space. It's not really a courtyard, but outside in that little walled off area, I have a flower arranging table, a few planters, and I think like the trash can and stuff for this home. Nothing too complicated out there. I feel like it would be nice to maybe put an easel out there as well, but I mostly just decorated it and wanted the sim to be really into their plants. I thought that was a cute idea, and we got a lot of nice items for that with both the Blooming Rooms kit and the Greenhouse Haven kit, so I used a lot of those. And I also really loved the wall plants that I put in this room, which are from high school years. I think those are really pretty here. And yeah, just getting some more plants and some more planters all around, some sprays to take care of everything, and finalizing the details of this. Just trying to figure out how to fit everything in, which pieces I like better, because I have a very limited space over here. So I had to decide what to have. And I really wanted to make sure there was at least a couple of planters so your sim could actually grow stuff here. Obviously, they love plants and the whole inside is like covered in them. But if you actually wanted your sim to do a little bit of gardening, I just wanted to make sure they could do that. It's not a big deal if they don't, because they could have other hobbies as well. It's just decorated this way. It's up to you. And we don't actually have fairies in the game yet, and I hope we do at some point, but there's nothing in particular they absolutely need. Although I did add the rabbit home over here, as well as the bird house or bird tree. These are functional items where birds and bunnies will come out of if you have cottage living. I thought that would be really cute for a fairy to have like bird and bunny friends. But anyway, that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.